It reminds me of sixth grade when my buddy Sean Bendixson could bounce the kick drum, and I finally figured out how to bounce it with the right foot. So I thought that was the be all end all. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get all the gigs now. Hey folks, good to see ya. It's Nate from the 8020 Drummer, back in 8020 Studios East here in Gowanus, Brooklyn, and here for week 2 of my Thomas Pridgen deep dive. So last week, you may remember I got into a little bit of the Gospel Chops lick Thomas presented in one of the original Gospel Chops videos. So in the ensuing week, I messed around a little bit more with that lick, so I've got a variation for you. And I also got a bit into the drum channel video that Thomas does, and instead of showing you a specific lick, I'm going to show you a series of loops, kind of a concept about a way I approached practicing this that you can approach practicing it as well. So let's start with something like what Thomas played in the drum channel video. I'll link to it below, but Thomas does this great linear groove in a sort of uniquely Thomas way, and the gist of it is something like this. Okay, so I've spent the last 3 or 4 days trying to get inside what Thomas was doing in that video, and I came up with a few concepts that I practiced over and over again that would allow me to teach it to you. So very quickly, I want to get into this kind of linear optional playing that Thomas is doing. So let's start by just laying down a carpet of 16ths. And we're going to do that by giving ourselves the option of playing the kick drum or playing either hand. And the right hand is going to be on the hats and the left hand is going to be in the center of the snare. This is a concept that I like to call scenario training, that a lot of people like Ari Honig and Dave King and Mark Juliana use, which is essentially you're improvising, but you're limiting your options. So first, I'm going to take you through a couple scenarios that I practiced, and then I'm going to give you some actual scripted loops that will be transcribed for you that you can take and learn on your own, that will sort of jumpstart you into this. So the first exercise is we're playing 16ths, and our options are these sounds. And we can play singles or doubles with any hand. So we can also play. So right away you could play something like. So let me show you a couple of Thomas Pridgen-esque idioms using that type of vocabulary. 2, 3, 4. So you notice that partway through that, I introduced a couple of other textures, which were allowing the hats and the snare drum to play simultaneously, opening the hats, and the snare drum rim shot. So I want to show you one other way you can vary these quickly, and that's hemiolizing. That just means taking a standard 4-beat phrase and making 2 3-beat phrases and a 4-beat phrase out of it. Then 3, 4. Becomes this, 3, 4. Another thing I wanted to show you is that you can practice these more slowly than Thomas does in the drum channel video to get them clean and just to make sure that when two limbs are supposed to be hitting at the same time, they really are. So let me play the same exercise for you and give you a couple loops, and I'll just do it more slowly. 2, 3, 4. Okay, so those are some loops you can practice. A couple guidelines for this. If you're starting with my variations and coming up with your own, you'll notice that I'm staying on one thing for a few bars and then I'm moving on to the next thing. And I call this the looping exercise. It's sort of like you're a DJ and you make a loop with yourself. You can actually stay on one variation for 5 to 10 minutes if you're really getting it clean. One last comment about this metronome. If you really want to nail it time-wise, I recommend practicing first with the metronome on 16ths, with the accent of the metronome on the upbeat. So a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1. And next with the metronome on 16th note offbeats. So 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1. And that'll force you to create the time with your own playing and double check yourself with the metronome instead of following the metronome. Okay, so I want to show you how you can extrapolate a very Thomas Pridgen-esque fill from this type of concept we're already practicing. So the fill goes like this. 2, 3, 4. So this comes right out of the same concept where you're playing linearly and you're using combinations of ghosted strokes, rim shots, hi-hat, and kick. So the most basic kernel of this is just this. 3, 4. And the cool thing about that is that when Thomas is playing really fast and really loudly, you watch his body language and he's only really using energy to emphasize the accents. And if you allow yourself to extend out this ghost, if you allow yourself to sort of float like a butterfly and sting like a bee, and you allow your ghost notes to do the work for you, you can play at pretty quick and pretty loud tempos. All of that sort of stuff. So again, we're just taking this and hemiolizing it. So becomes 3, 4. So let me show you that in context. Oh, and by the way, this idiom we learned last week, just that orchestration, anything that starts with the right hand and goes hand to hand, you better believe you can do around the toms like that. So can become. So let me show you that in context. 2, 3, 4. Okay, so there's one last thing that I want to show you, which is an exceedingly simple sextuplet lick, but that will sound really cool in context when you're escalating a groove that's at this type of tempo. So if you're going along playing 16ths and it's like a really key moment in the song, you might want to add some sort of sextuplet. Okay, so a really simple way to deploy sextuplets when you're playing would just be this idiom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you can orchestrate that this way. It's pretty common. 3, 4. So that sounds good enough if you're playing along. But you can use this orchestration concept from last week to do something unique with it. So instead of 3, 4, it becomes this: 3, 4. Of course, when you add the accents, let me slow it down a little. 3, 4. So this is one that's a little counterintuitive because of this. Yeah, and you're not going to have a mic stand in front of you. But I would recommend practicing this slowish and just trying to nail all of the accents. So let me play that for you once in context. 3, 4. It's got kind of an Eric Moore thing, just like a cold-blooded, zero fucks, single stroke thing. I was not nailing it there, by the way, but somebody send me a video. Play it better than me. Folks, hope I've left you with enough to shed for this week. Next week we'll be on to something else, but I'm sure I'll have more Thomas Pridgen soon in the future. We're on to my favorite part of the lesson, the learn more about me portion of the lesson. If you've been practicing drums for a while, but you're worried you're not getting better as fast as you could be, I recommend something called the 80-20 Roadmap. It's a product I designed to cut to the chase and fix the 3 most important weaknesses that most drummers have that are keeping you from being great. If you want to check that out, just click on the link. It's $5. It's dope as hell, and I believe it will help you. Folks, it's been another fun one. I'm Nate from the 80-20 Drummer, and I'll see you next week in another lesson of the week. Peace. Guys, quick postscript. I'm doing this on the iPhone because it's a day later, and I hadn't anticipated needing to record more stuff. But the truth is, I wasn't super psyched about the sextuplet lick I left you guys on the professionally shot video. Professional, meaning I shot it on my good camera. And today I'm practicing more of the same Thomas Pridgen stuff. So I'm not going to be able to show the over-the-shoulder shot with the iPhone, but I'll have it transcribed for you, so hopefully you'll get it. But I invented some better sounding ones and some stuff that sound a lot like Justin Tyson, Justin Brown. I feel like I finally hacked into it and got inside like what all the gospel cats are doing. It reminds me of 6th grade when my buddy Sean Bennixson could bounce the kick drum, and I finally figured out how to bounce it with the right foot, so I thought that was the be-all end-all. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get all the gigs now. Okay, really quickly, straighten this out. Okay, so it's all sextuplets, 3, 4, right? But you can do a phrasing that's pretty cool. So if you just do that phrasing and then wrap it around the toms in the Thomas Pridgen way, it sounds like this: 3, 4. You can put the first right hand on the hats, so fast, that'll sound like this. And you can do a hemiola with it. So 3, 4. Try to do that cleaner. 3, 4. There's another one. Oh, this is it. So 3, 4. So let me play the hat for that. 3, 4. So when you orchestrate that around the toms, it'll sound like this. 3, 4. So in context, you're playing along. So you can start to play some of that really muscular stuff that the gospel guys do. And my hands are definitely not fast by comparison to some of those Scandinavian guys who practice on the pad all day. But it's really about upload speed. Having a pattern to slot your hands into so that you can just turn on that juice. And it's that lack of hesitation and that muscularity with which you play it that's really gonna get the shorties on their feet. Holla! All right, guys, Nate from the 80/20 Drummer. Remember to check out the road map, and I'll see you next week.